Vera?
Last night we went to a group of us went to the Planning Commission meeting, the county meeting, and we had a number of residents complain about compressor stations, the noise, and our concerns about it. Besides the noise, the constant industrial noise that people are being subjected to, and the emissions, the toxic emissions that are constant. We had a number of people testify, and then the commission, we had at least 2 nays. 2 people, it was some progress. 2 people said no to approve it on the board. 4 said yes. So they approved again another compressor station in our county. We're up to 40. I called Bradford County yesterday and asked their planning commissioner, how many do you have in Bradford County? They're bigger than us. They have more wells. They have 25. So for some reason we have a good number more, and we're being subjected to this. And I just want to say that I object as a resident that this commission, which is also somehow headed and influenced by all of you, is continuing to just approve one after another throughout our county. Every 2 to 4 miles we're getting them, and we're being subjected to this, to the noise. And then one of the residents who was supposed to come in last night, Ben Tuttle, he had a seizure right before he was supposed to come. And he has a brain injury which is being aggravated by the noise, the constant industrial noise, and he had a seizure again. And he wasn't able to make the meeting. The family had to take care of him. So we're getting medical issues besides all the other disturbances and the exposures. And for you, the commissioners, you need to do something to help us, and as we're being totally industrialized and taken over by this industry that basically is interested only in profits, and we are being the sacrificial lambs for their profits. And I also want to object too to Alan Hall, that I heard from Bob Templeton yesterday that I wanted to see records. I've been asking for records, and I've been able to see any public records in the Planning Commission up to yesterday. And anything that's been shown in previous meetings and discussed is now a public record. And then when he mentioned something to you, you told him that I need to now submit a right to know to see the file for Miller Compressor Station. And a right to know delays my observance of those records up to a month. So it's not transparency in our government. It's not easy now for residents to get access to records so that we can see what's happening to us, and then we can make more of an informed response at the meetings. So I just want to say, why did you do that? Why would you now insist on right to know, which you did not insist on before, or anybody else on this commissioner's board? So I want to object to that and say that this is not leading to transparency or helping us as residents get informed so we know what's happening to us in a fuller extent. So just to let everybody know, another one was approved, and I'm objecting to it as a citizen, and we need to get legal representation to somehow defend our rights so that we are protected. You need to have better soundproofing. You have soundproofing in your regulations for the county. What kind of soundproofing if we can hear sounds a mile away? What kind of soundproofing is that? What does that mean? You need to have better muffling of the gas releases. Just like Mike said, he heard a gas release near his home last meeting for 12 hours. And they sound like jet planes. We need to have better muffling. What is a muffling if I hear it and we all hear it 2 miles even away? So something needs to be drastically improved, or you need to enforce your ordinances in a proper manner, plus get a noise meter, which we've been asking you for 2 years, and spend money. I looked up one noise meter, calibrated, and it was about $400. I think you can afford $400 since you spent $4 million on the building here to revamp it for gas.
Mr. Scroggins?
Okay, I'm going to cover the same thing except for a little bit differently. First of all, that meeting last night was null and void. Mike is a lawyer. They announced it publicly, being at that building over there. They changed the venue, did not announce it publicly. That means everything that was done last night is null and void. Mike knows that. I'm going to file a complaint with the Open Records Act and Sunshine, and they're going to kill everything that happened last night at that meeting. Why would I do that? Number one is, last night was a joke. Thomas Maher was there. I'm reading your own Saldo rules. One of them is 710.4, local, state, and federal regulations. All operations shall comply with all applicable local, state, and federal laws, rules, and regulations. They can't just ignore Hartford's rule, which is what they tried to do last night. And your solicitor came in, and he, in front of everybody, said, I may be right or wrong, That means he's not solid on this, and said, we're just gonna override Hartford's more strict rule. You had multiple families members there last night saying they live right near it. The noise is ridiculous, and we're not even talking about odors. Here's another problem. 2 of the board members argued with the rest of them and said, they only tested 1 engine and it's already at 48 dB. There's 5 engines. So they looked at each other. What happens when they all 5 go on board? And guess what? When they do, there is no follow-up. The county's putting themselves in legal jeopardy. We're done. Number 40 is where we draw the line. We're done. We're suing the county. We're going to sue the planning commission. We're going to sue Williams. You know why? Because this is a game. Every time you look at their documents, they're a little 1 dB under the level that they can have maximum to meet the county standard. They're lying to everybody in their submission. Then you guys perpetrate the lie through the planning commission and here by letting them get away with it. When they go online, they're at 80 dB at somebody's front door. And nobody here has a noise meter. So we're going to the catch-22 is you can't override Hartford's law and rule if you have no way to test it. Remember what I said last meeting? $5,000 on a flagpole. We can't buy a meter, figure out who can operate it. So you're violating your own saldos, including the noise. There is no soundproofing and blowdown silencers and mufflers. 0 on the other 39 we've approved. So we're done at number 40. Here's number 2. The shale gas industry is dead in the water. I've got 100 articles now. Dead. The price is at 58 cents. This is Lou D'Amico, who's the president and executive director of PIOGA, Pennsylvania Independent Oil and Gas. Oil and gas prices have historically experienced booms and busts. Relatively small imbalances of energy supply and demand can cause huge upswings and down in price. Some Pennsylvania producers have hoped the shale gas boom would end the volatility. It didn't. I used to tell people when the shale play broke that it was going to end the cycles, D'Amico said, but I was wrong. We're kind of a short-sighted industry. You know what's short-sighted? Right now you're remodeling this building and putting gas in. Do you know what's going to happen to the price of gas when they stop the rigs? It's going to jump right through the roof again. So what used to be cheaper to run the old way that this was done, did we leave the old school in here? No, we did not. Almost every school that's invited gas in has kept in their other furnaces so that they can turn them on if the price gets too high. We haven't. There we go. The industry lies to all of us and says we're going to have low price gas, and then they flip it. The problem is, there's a new list too, of the worst offenders of the environmental issues. Cabot Oil and Gas, number 1, with 265 violations. Chesapeake, number 2. Range, number 3. Chief, number 4. XTO, number 6. Southwestern, number 8. I'm getting tired of them lying to the people that we elect. And oh yeah, everything's fine, they're our buddies. We don't want to upset these guys, they're going to leave. I don't care if they leave, matter of fact, they can go. We're at 40, we still don't have one idea what's coming out. When we get the funding to really test one of these facilities and what's coming out of them, and we find out that the formaldehyde and benzene and toluene levels are high enough to endanger human and animal health, we're going to sue the holy hell out of everybody involved. Because you should have done it on the first one. The county should have tested the first one. And if whoever put it in, you should have said, great, you told us it was under 50 dB, that's our rules. Now you have to prove after. Why do we let an engineer come and test it when it's 1 engine going and we all sign it off and everything's
1 or
great?
2.
And then sit 3 months later, they fire them all up and it's running at 80 and we have no way to follow up. That's breaking the law. You're violating your own law. Your own law is 50 dB. You have no way to enforce it. We're getting tired of it. We're drawing the line at 40. You have multiple families getting involved. We have lawyers coming on board, and you don't have a chance in hell of defending it properly because your own attorney was questioning and saying, I may be wrong, I may be right in front of everybody last night. The Planning Commission wanted to say no to it, but they're afraid of getting sued. By who? The industry is broke. Go ahead and let them try it. Just say no. We asked for a no. They've said yes 39 times. We asked for 1 no for a valid reason. Hartford has a better noise ordinance, and it should be enforced. Any law or rule or regulation passed by a local community should be respected. You don't get to come and mow it down because you're the big bad county unless you're willing to enforce it yourself, and obviously you're not. So I would appreciate you guys. First of all, I'm going to kill the meeting last night. I want all 3 of you at the next one because we're not going to allow them to make number 40 happen. Thank you.
Any other comments? Motion to adjourn? Second. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
9:29.
Marianne, are you the
All right,